Hello to all my Facebook friends and all potential GoFundMe donors. My name is Evan. Some of you will know me, some of you will not. I wanted to make this video in a short so that for those of you who don't have the time to read or who don't like to read will have the opportunity to hear a little bit about my story. It's hard to incorporate into a video every single detail of the events that took place that day, but I'm going to try to point out the main factors of the event because I think it will be very beneficial in you hearing and understanding. Again, my name is Evan, and on Saturday, July 18 of this year, I was a hit and run victim on a motorcycle. I was left for dead. And I know that sounds ironic and like that would be impossible. It is not impossible in a developing nation. Actually, it's quite common to be involved in a hit and run accident where you are left for dead. I am lucky because I was on a main street. Had I been on a side street, I probably would not be here today. When my motorcycle crashed because someone ran behind me and clipped me because they were trying to pass too close and too fast, I fell off my bike and slid for several feet or several meters away from my bike. And I was not going that fast. I am what they call a consensuous driver. That means I try to pay attention to my surroundings and everything that's going on so that I'm conscious of what's happening around me. But on this particular day, coming from my part-time work, teaching English, it was a bad day. So upon sliding down the road and causing damage to my arm, my knees, and other parts of my body that I can't show you on here, I have what they call an ankle fracture. I did not know that at the time. At the time, I was trying to get up and get my bike because when I was sliding the whole time, I just watched my bike flip and pieces come flying off of it. So I tried to stand up immediately to go down the road to get my bike. And when I stood up, I fell immediately because I had an ankle fracture. An ankle fracture means you broke two or three bones. I broke all three of the major bones that are required to stand up to support your weight. So I will not be able to walk for 6 months. I have 10 metal rods that go from the bottom of my foot up to about my tibia, I believe they call it. So I am not able to walk. My foot is always in pain. Medicine here in this country is not that great, and they don't really give you anything for pain relief. Government hospitals here are very, very subpar, and they're very dirty, unclean, and rude staff. So on that day, when I tried to get up, I fell down immediately. And upon falling down, the traffic did not stop. Traffic here does not stop. It's very important to note that for the lack of infrastructure here, there are no signal lights. There is not a respect for law enforcement or emergency personnel such as ambulances and whatnot. So people don't get out of the way like they do in our countries, like in America, where it's very developed. We have laws and we have rules, and people do not follow those here. They ride down whatever side of the street they want to. They don't yield to, like I said, emergency vehicles, and they are always in a hurry to get in front. So when I was hit, traffic kept coming at me. It did not stop. All bystanders, about a crowd of 50 to maybe 60 people, just stood there looking at me. When I fell down, I was immediately struck again by what we call a tuk-tuk. And a tuk-tuk is a motorcycle that has a cab on the back so it can transport people around very easily, mostly foreign people. It hit me full on in my chest and drove me down the road a few more meters or a few more feet, however you want to put it. And at that point, I had to be the person who was in charge because everyone just sat there gasping and and looking. I had to start instructing people to come get me out of the road because traffic was still coming at me. I had some brave soul finally jump out there to stop traffic, and 4 or 5 guys finally grabbed me. I had to instruct them to lock my bike. I had to instruct them to call the ambulance for me. It took forever for an ambulance to come because sometimes the lines are busy, sometimes they won't come on time. So I eventually hopped in the back of a different tuk-tuk, and that took me to the hospital. When I finally got to the hospital, to the emergency room, they took me immediately to the operation room. In the operation room, the doctors said a 1 hour emergency surgery to save my foot wound up taking 3 hours. They said because every time they attached the foot, it would just fall back down and dangle. They had to eventually call in a specialist that taught them how to put the foot in because if they couldn't, they were going to amputate as the last result. So I have spent 4 or 5 days in a nasty hospital that is unclean and subpar, and now I'm at my home on bed rest. I will not be able to walk, like I said, for 6 months. I'm bedridden, and I think about 2 months' time the rods will come out. They will do X-rays, and the rods will come out, and I still won't be able to walk because they want those bones and tendons and whatnot to heal very well. I broke, like I said, all three of the major bones and joints and ligaments and the Achilles heel. So it's going to be a very long time before I can walk. I am looking forward to getting back to work. Part of the problem is that I've been unemployed since I came here in June. Prior to that, I lived in Thailand, so I was teaching and had a great job. But I moved here because of my fiance, and so I'm looking for work. My fiance is Cambodian, and Cambodian people do not make a lot of money. It's just the quality of life in Cambodia is different for them compared to Western people. Whereas I can make a lot of money, but I can't because I can't find work. But when I'm able to, I will be able to make more money than her. Right now, we really need help with not only medical, but the bike that I crashed because it was a rental. And out here, they do not have insurance programs for rental. They do not have insurance programs for medical and dental for foreign people. You have to bring it yourself. Actually, most hospitals don't even accept insurance here. You have to pay in cash as you go along. We need help with paying for our rent for about maybe 3 or 4 months out so that we're covered while I'm out of work. Just paying for our daily life and everything else that goes with overhead for that. So if you're watching this video and you're feeling compelled to help me, please do. I'm going to try to turn this camera around before this video ends, I hope, so you can get to see my foot and how I'm on bed rest with my foot elevated a bit so that the blood flow comes in and doesn't cause my foot to swell. So here we go. I'm going to try to show you that now. So that is my foot now. Okay, my foot sustained the major part of the injuries. My chest, my arms, my legs, the other parts of my body, some bruising, some scratching, but the foot is what caused the most damage, and there was some airway restriction in my chest. Everything has been since okay. Um, Hospitals here don't also are not like America. They do not give you real painkillers, so I'm in a lot of pain a lot. I have 10 metal rods going through my foot, so I'm in pain almost every day, and there's nothing that can help me. So I'm hoping to get home soon to America to get that. Anyways, if you're watching, I want to thank you for listening to my story, and if you can help, please feel free to read my story or to contribute to me on GoFundMe.com, Hit and Run Victim. Thank you so much for your time, and peace and love.